be having a look today at how to make your own Hangman game in Python. So front to start to end. Again, this is kind of similar to the quiz game where it's going to use a text file to find different words, and you can basically fill that text file up with as many different words as you want, and the game will automatically run. So let me show you how the text file looks first of all. I've literally just got it saved on my desktop. It's called Hangman, and it's just got every word that you need in it, followed by, there's no symbols at the end of it or anything like that. Make sure you don't leave any empty lines at the bottom of it, but that's as simple as it is to get the text file up and running. So all of your words will go in here. Just make sure there's no blank lines, or else you'll end up picking a blank line and nobody will be able to get your word. Okay, so in order to get this working, we need to first of all select a secret word from that text file. So I'm going to import random first of all, which is a module we've used before. And then just like before, we're going to file equals open, and we're going to open up that text file. So it's called hangman.txt, and we're going to open it in read mode because we don't want our users to be able to accidentally edit or delete that file. So we're just going to read it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the contents of it and we're going to read them all. So we've used read line before, which reads one line at a time. Read lines reads all of the lines and gives them a position. So if I just give you an example here, if we do print contents and then 0 and then the same again. Oh. And then print like 2 or something. What will happen when I run this? Make sure obviously save it. Make sure you save it in the same place as the text documents. So desktop. Oh, sorry, it's obviously file.readlines. Let's try that again. There we go. So we can see here we've got sale and watch because content 0 and contents 2. If we look in the text file, sale is the first position, which is 0, and watch 0, 1, 2. Watch is in the second index position. So we can use this basically to call any of the lines from the contents variable, because the contents variable now has all of the lines. But instead of just calling a specific line, we want to call a random line. So what we want to do is we'll just do it as, we'll make a new variable for it because we might reuse it. Random equals random dot rand int. And we want it between 0 and the length of the contents. I'll explain this in a second. -1. Okay, so it's going to pick a random number for us. Random.randint means random is the module we're using, which is here, and randint is a function within that module. So randint is just a piece of code that says pick a random integer. It takes 2 arguments, a starting point and a finishing point. So I'm saying pick a random number between 0 and the length of contents -1. Now, it's a bit of a weird one how length works. So we obviously know that a file indexes from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this file here has 4 positions. Sorry, it has 5 positions, but they start from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When we call the length, it finds the amount of items in here. So the amount of items is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the length of it is always going to be 1 index out when it comes to actually looking at the position of it. So although cheese is the 5th item in this list, its index is actually 4. And that's why we had to use the -1 there. There's a couple of different ways to do it, but this is the one I've found to be consistently easiest in the long run. So that's why we use that -1. It's the difference between the indexed position and using the length. So remember, the length gets you the amount of items, and the index position always starts from 0, gets you the index of the items. So in this case, we'd only go up to 4. So let's move on from that. And we basically now want to select a random word. So we can use contents and then give it a position, but now we just give it random like this. And obviously we need to assign that to a variable. So let's call it secret word. So our secret word is going to equal a random position within the contents variable. And that random position is going to go from 0 to the length of contents, which is 5, minus 1, which is 4. So it will go from 0 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll stop going on about that now. I think you've got it. Now, this next bit's a bit of a weird one. I'm going to start going through it. Basically, there's one exception which makes this a little bit annoying and not as straightforward as I would like it to be. So if we look at the text file, every single one of these is on a different line. What you can't see is at the end of each line is the character for the new line, which is this /n. So actually, when Python reads this in, it's actually reading sale and then new line, so sale/n. So if you printed this out as it would do, it would print the word sale and then it would go onto a new line. Now, the problem with this is this works fine for the most part, apart from when we get to this last one here. Cheese doesn't have a /n at the end of it because I'm not going onto a new line. And I can't just put a new line at the end of it because it will be empty. And the possibility of that new line then being selected makes it so that you might end up playing this game and getting a word which doesn't exist, or a word there's nothing in there. So we basically need to make an exception if this last one is picked. So what I'm saying here is that if /n is in our secret word, the length of the item, the length of the secret word, so length space a second, else the length. So what I'm saying here, what I need to do, obviously to get this Hangman working, I need to find out the length of the word as well, so how many letters are in it. And if there's this extra character at the end of it that I can't see, obviously these ones here, so sale has got this invisible character that I can't see. If I call the length of it, it's actually going to tell me that there are 5 letters in sale, which is incorrect. So all these ones with a new line are always going to have one extra character at the end of them. And the one which doesn't have a new line isn't going to have an extra character at the end of it. So this here basically just catches that for us. And we're saying that if you detect a new line is in it, the length of the word is actually going to be whatever the length is minus 1. So in this case, sale would return 5 as the length, but because it's got a new line character at the end of it, we're going to minus 1, which gets us 4, which is the correct length for that word. And it works with all of these until we get to cheese, because cheese doesn't have a new line character at the end of it. We just take cheese's length as is, because we don't need to minus 1, because it hasn't got the extra character. And this just means we can keep on adding, and we're building in a little bit of robustness, so we can add as many words as we want without having to make specific adjustments for different words. But now that that's done, let's actually start looking at building out the actual code. So let's print the secret word and just make sure this is working. Okay, so borrow, and actually as well, let's print the length and see if that is working. So sale and 4, so we know that is working. So hopefully, see, that's quite lucky, we got cheese straight away. So cheese and 6, so we know that is working as well, because cheese obviously has 6 letters in it. So we know our catch is working here to make sure that every single one works. What we need to do now is we're going to make an empty list. We'll get rid of those in a second. And what we need to happen is, as the user guesses, it's going to fill in positions in this list in the correct place. The list needs to be filled with a random symbol that the user's not going to be typing. So I'm going to use a pound sign, but you can use anything that's not like a letter that they would type. So pound sign, and then I'm going to times this by the length, and I'll explain that in a second. So basically, what this does is it creates a list for me, and I'm saying create an empty list with just the pound sign in it. Sorry, it's not empty. Create a list item with a pound sign in it, and the amount of these I want is however much the length of the word is. So if I now print guest list and run this, we can see here watch is 5, we know it's 5 items, and we've got a list with 5 pound signs in it. If I run it again, borrow is 6, we've got a list with 6 pound signs in it. Okay, and this is going to be updated as we actually get through it. Okay, so now we have the kind of empty list sorted out. We are going to go through the main loop of it. Now, you can do like a little counter or something in here so that you can tell the user how many times they got it wrong or right, but we'll go through that at the end, so I'll just put that there for a second. Now, I'm going to use a while loop, and I'm going to say while the pound sign is in the guest list. So basically, what I'm saying, if a pound sign appears in this guest list, what that means is the user hasn't correctly guessed all the letters yet, so the loop will go round. When there are no more pound signs in the guest list, that means that all the letters would have been guessed, and this while loop will stop because the guess will be done. So we'll look at how this works in a second. So I'm going to print the guest list, and then I'm going to give the opportunity the user to have a guess here. So guess equals input, type a letter. Now you can see here something I forgot to say was that in my text file these are all capitals, and that is because like we did in the last one, we're going to, whatever the user types in, we're going to capitalize it. So using dot upper, just like in the last video, so that whatever letter they type in here, it automatically matches it to the uppercase from in here. So it means that they can type in a lowercase, they'll just turn it into an uppercase. Now, if the guess is in the secret word, so if the letter that they've put is actually in the secret word that's selected, we want the computer to do the following. So we want the program to print that's right, something like this. And then we want to just keep track of this. So counter equals counter plus 1. That's just extra, don't have to worry about it too much. But the main bit is here. So what we want to do, if the guess is in the secret word, we want to basically go through and we want to find out how many times it appears. Now, this would actually be quite a straightforward program, and you wouldn't even need a loop for it if each letter only appeared once. But because we've got words where the letters appear 2 or even 3 times, we need to check every position in the list one after another. Or else, what will happen is it will only ever find the first letter and won't show you where the other ones are. So this is how we're going to actually check for every single letter in the secret word, and actually update our guest list with every single letter. So what we're going to do is, so we're going to use a little for loop. So for x in range, and the range we want is between 0 and the length of the word. So I'm using this length variable quite a few times, so this length variable, using it again here. So between 0 and the length of the word, if, I'll explain this in a second, secret word x is equal to guess list x equals guess. So this piece of code here might look a bit weird and confusing. You might be thinking, what on earth is all that about? But it's just to do with the positions. My for loop here, this x is a counter variable. Basically, I'm going to run this for loop from x to the length of the word. So say, for example, my word sail was picked, it would go from 0 till the end of the word, so till the end. So at the first time this loop runs, x is worth 0. The second time it runs, x is worth 1. The third time it runs, it's worth 2. And it keeps on going until it hits whatever number length is. And when that occurs, it means I've gone through the entire word. Now, this bit here, every single time my x iterates through the loop, I want to be checking it and saying that if the position of my secret word, so secret word and then x is a position. So for example, if my secret word was sail and I ran this and my first time going through this loop, this would be secret word 0. Okay, so the x would be 0 the first time round. Well, if that was sail, that would be to look at the first letter, which is S. Then it goes round again. This would increment to 1, so secret word 1. So then I'd be looking at the A. Then it would go round again, secret word 2, so it would look at the I. Round again, secret word 3, so then it would look at the L. And what I'm saying here is that if whatever letter I'm on is the same as the guess, take that same position in the guess list and save the guess into it. So again, basically, when we go through the guess list, we showed that it had maybe 4 pound signs in it or something like that. Those pound signs all have a position, and the position is going to be the same as whatever the secret words position is. So just have a play around with it, because it's a little bit complicated, but once you start playing around with it and seeing how it works, it will make much more sense. We're just going to do a final else here. So basically, if the guess is actually contained in our secret word, so if the letter we've guessed is within that, we do this. But if it's not in that, we just want to print to the user letter not found. And then that's it. It will loop back around and print the guest list out for them again. And then we'll go from that. At the very end here as well, if they get it all right, so all the letters are in there, let's print you got it right. Oh, that took you so here, that's just going to tell the user how many attempts it took them, and obviously here with the else statement we need to update the counter as well. So something like that will do it. So now, if I just run this, let's have a quick look. So just testing out here, we know that the secret word is cloth, so let's have a look. So let's do O. That's right, and you can see here the list is updated and it's put O in the correct place. So let's now keep updating this. So we've got L and O in the correct place. Let's put a letter in there that's wrong. Letter not found, nothing updated, but it's given us the last bit here. So now let's go through and put all of the right letters in here. There we go, that's right. It took you 6 attempts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's it. Obviously there's different things you can do with this as well now. You can make sure that the user only has a certain amount of attempts like they would do in Hangman. So you can sort of say like if the counter is greater than, so we can maybe do something like if the counter is greater than 5, so basically they have 6 attempts, and on their 6th attempt we're going to print you have run out of goes. We're going to print the secret word. The secret word was, and then just print it out here. And then we're going to print game over. And what would be nice really is to have this in a function and have like a try again bit here, and if they want to try again it recalls the whole function, but just keeping it simple for the time being, we're going to exit it here. So basically if their counter runs over 5 and they're going to run out of goes, they're going to be told the secret word, they're going to get a game over, and then it's going to exit the program. So let's just test to make sure that part of it works. So let's just have a look. Oh, so that's right, that's right. Let's put some wrong letters in here. So here we go. You have run out of goes, the secret word was borrow, game over, and then it quits out of it here. Okay. Obviously, I've just realised that if you're getting it right, you probably shouldn't be adding it to here, because that's going to, a word like borrow, you're going to end up hitting this on the last one. So let's actually just change it so that we have this one here. We'll have a counter, and we'll do also another counter for wrong. So basically, set wrong to 0. Here, every time they get it wrong, we'll add 1 to wrong, and then if wrong goes over 5, then we're going to hit the game over screen like you would do for a normal game of Hangman. So let's just check to make sure that one works. So let's just keep getting it wrong. Hopefully, there we go. So it runs out of, and that gives us our final word there. So I hope you enjoyed that. You get something out of it. Let me just make this a little bit smaller so you can see the whole code at once. There we go. So you can see all of the code here at once. We've got our opening the file, we've got our checking for that, selecting the random word from the file, checking if it's on a new line, it's got this weird character at the end of it. We've got creating the guest list with all the empty items in it, and then checking if our guest is in the guest list and updating it as we go round. So I hope you found it useful. If you make any changes or make it any better, let me know, and we'll have a little look and see if we can actually improve this all together. And I hope you're all doing well in this lockdown. Alright, thanks a lot.